Hello, hello, welcome on in, guys. Unoptimized Fool from the closet. Glad you can make it. Listen in, guys. It is another Saturday. And guess what? We're inside the closet. And it's another Saturday review. That's right. We cover all of the great articles that have come out through the week. And we got a lot of them. All right, so we got to go. We got to start pumping, okay? I slept in this chair last night. My back hurts. My doctors hate me. You know why? Because I only eat ramen noodles. Okay, my sodium counts are up. My ankles are 7 inches wide. Okay, but we're going to still do the show. I'm in extreme pain. That's okay. Just kidding. I'm okay. I'm doing just fine. I don't live in the closet. But welcome to the Saturday Review. If this is the only piece of content you watch a week, that's totally fine, because this is kind of like a recap of all the important news that I've covered on the channel, and also some news that maybe I didn't cover, but is definitely still important. But guys, let's get right into it. All right, guys, the first content that we want to cover today is 11.0.7. Right? Now, 11.0.7 is going to be the transition patch between the patch we're in now, 11.0.5, to 11.1. There's a lot of numbers involved, guys, but guess what? It's coming. Right? Now, we can assume that it's coming, I want to say January 7th, because 11.0.5 ends on January 6th, right? Now, I don't think it's going to release before that. I heard some speculation here and there, but that's okay. We're not going to listen to them, okay? But we got some good content, right? Siren Island, right? It's going to be a small little island, no flying allowed, but it's small, right? Takes around like 50 seconds to get from point A to point B on the island. It's not going to be a big deal. We have factions that you can, not factions, but groups that you can donate things and do mini bosses on. And there's also this little ring that you can have. It has an in-game model, this ring. And this ring, you can have gems that it's basically a legendary. And it's probably going to be best in slot for the ring, which is fine. You know, I think the ring, it's inconsequential because, again, it's in the ring slot. And the ring slot is the most kind of unappealing slot in the arsenal of all of our armor, right? So yeah, we have Island. It's basically a cut Island expedition from BFA, but they're bringing it back. You know, they're also bringing back some other mounts too from Siege of Oromar and older content too. So it's fantastic. So again, that should be dropping soon. It also hit the PTR on Halloween, which was, I think it was this Thursday. So if you want to check it out on the PTR, definitely check it out and check out all the mysteries. There's also a lot of mysteries on the island. So yeah, we have that announcement. Now, when do you think 11.1 is going to be announced? I think 11.1 is going to be announced probably in the direct on November 13th. So we're definitely going to have to cover that. I'm hopefully trying to cover that live. But yeah, that's probably the biggest piece of news. That's the first piece of news. Let's get right to the next one. All right, guys, second piece of news here. Turbulent Timeways has been confirmed to come back in 11.0.7. That's right, guys. 11.0.7 is going to be a pretty big patch here. We got a new island, and we got the Turbulent Timeways. Now, the Turbulent Timeways was first introduced in Dragonflight, where it is about 4 weeks, I believe, of just time walking extravaganza, which is crazy to think that we have all of this time walking now, and then we're going to go into more extravaganza. And obviously, it's not going to drop right. I don't think it's going to drop right at 11.0.7 launch, but it's going to drop soon right after. So, what that is, right, is just every week you can complete I think it's 5 dungeons, and you get credit for this quest. And if you do all the 4 or 5 weeks of said quest, you get a cool achievement and a cool mount. So that's coming back. I'm glad, again, all these one-time events that I was worried about being one-time events, you know, I'm going to be talking about Plunderstorm later, remixes, nothing confirmed with remix yet, but Turbulent Timeways, they're all coming back. So it looks like they're trying to keep it in the rotation, just like Timewalking is, which is fantastic. But guys, let's get to the next one. Next piece of news. Speaking of Plunderstorm, guess what, guys? What's coming back? Plunderstorm is coming back. That's right, guys. The Battle Royale that shocked the nation is coming back in early 2025, and there's actually talks of them having a certain date coming back on the PTR, but a little bit of a speculation. We'll cover that when it's more concrete. Again, they could just be picking random numbers, but Plunderstorm will be coming back. There is no renowned track to grind out. There is new cosmetics, however. Now, the old ones are returning. Now, how many new ones versus old ones is still yet to be determined, but we'll have older content for people who did not participate or do the full experience in Plunderstorm. I'm a PvE frog, and I did everything inside of Plunderstorm. Why? Because I'm a grinder, and I love World of Warcraft, and honestly, I had a little bit of fun with it. I mostly just treated it like a PvE situation until I got like 500 plunder, and then I just started PvPing until I died. I won twice, so that's cool. But yeah, guys, it's coming back. New rewards as well, same map, and again, I'm just loving the fact that these events that they just randomly do are coming back. So obviously, since Plunderstorm's coming back, that means that Plunderstorm was a success. I already thought it was a success, but this is kind of proving that, and as well as I'm hoping we get an announcement. I think a remix is going to be an end of expansion type of thing, right? So I think remix is probably going to be coming probably at the end of War Within, but I think remix was more popular and more successful than Plunderstorm, but that could just be me skewing the data. But guys, just wanted to say Plunderstorm's coming back early 2025. Get rid of the grind. All right, on to the next. Alrighty, guys, I want to talk about Season of Discovery. Okay, now I don't really talk about Season Discovery too much. Usually it's when big announcements happen, and we just had a big announcement here. So Phase 6 is slotted to come out on November 21st, and obviously we're going to be opening up the gates. We're going to be, getting the bringing the gong, right, and all of those cool things, right? Those 2 raids. What's cool about this, though, is that we have some new content, right? We also have a new instance, just like the Crystal Veil. I believe it's called the Nightmare Dragon. It's basically the world bosses thrown into an instance, right? It's the dragons. So that is thrown into an instance. Again, it's a new raid. Technically, it's older content, but it's kind of repurposed into newer things, right? And also, we have this new system for the raid, right? Because obviously, with the major raids we've had, with Molten Core, we had the heat system. Blackling Lair, we had the Dragonflight stuff that we're currently still doing, and then in the new raids here, right, well, technically the older raids, right, I think it's Aj Kahir, I always call it that, I always mess up the names, there's too many random letters in that name. They have this roguelike system. Now, we don't know too much details yet, but they're saying it's like a roguelike type of game, so think of roguelikes, and you're going to be progressing towards the bosses, towards the mobs, and you're going to try to go as far as possible, right? And obviously things are going to get harder and harder as you get through the raid, and there's going to be a point where you might all die. Now, if you all die, you lose everything, but there's chances to leave the raid with the loot that you gather, right? So if you go too far and lose everything, you lost everything, you did all that for nothing. So I think that's a cool thing. I think this is the most hardcore system that we've seen for Classic. But I'd like to see the innovation. I'm glad that we're not just adding the heat system to all the raids and then just calling it quits. They all have their own unique thing. They all kind of match the theme, which is awesome. So yeah, Phase 6 coming out here soon. November is going to be a busy month for World of Warcraft, and also the roguelike system. And when I get more details, I'll definitely cover them because it definitely sounds very, very interesting. All right, on to the next. All right, guys, I want to talk to you up close about Timewalking. Now, obviously, 11.0.5, we're having a ton of Timewalking events, right? We have our classic Timewalking. We're eventually going to get Burning Crusade, Lich King, Cataclysm, right? It's going to be a Timewalking extravaganza. But there has been a buff to some of the health, all of the health inside of all these dungeons, 66%. Okay, and we've also been noticing a lot of just buffing, and also, eventually we're going to talk about the bronze here. And I've noticed that, obviously it's a new system, right? Because obviously the Timewalking system is now on like Chromie time, where the content scales up to us. Before, we were scaling down to the content in Timewalking. So obviously a new system, but they've had a lot of, practice with Chromie time. But they were unhappy with where the current, times in the dungeons were, because they want to have the pacing be between normal dungeons, normal dungeons, and heroic dungeons, like right there in the middle. And they saw that it was actually easier to do the normal dungeons. So they buff all the health by at least 66%. And a lot of people are concerned that they just weren't testing stuff, but as the days go by, I honestly think what's happening is it's just it's a new system, and even though it's we've been having the content scale to us for a long time with Chromie time, these are dungeons, right? And dungeons behave a little bit different than open world. So yeah, that got buffed this week. Again, something else got buffed this week as well too, but I'll cover that in its own segment here. But just want to let you guys know it's going to hit they're going to be a little bit harder. But honestly, I've been doing time walking since then, and there's a difference, but it's not night and day. So it's still pretty much a very fast way to level and also get some tokens. Get some time warp badges, start grinding. All right, on to the next. Speaking of the increases, right? I alluded to the last segment there. We do have a segment here for the bronze celebration tokens. Now, these have been added in 11.0.5 to get all the tier sets, right? And other items too, I believe. And obviously, we've been grinding. There's weekly content. They also have it tied in with all the content that you can do inside of the War Within, so they're still relevant, right? They actually, after just 1 week of it being live, they buffed all of the sources of the tokens from the War Within, right? So the more you do, you'll get more tokens, right? And I just got my first, I don't want to brag or anything, but I just got my first tier set. All right, the Warrior tier set, all right, one of the best looking tier sets, minus the Paladin, of course. The Paladin one's always going to be on the top. But the Warrior one is number 2, solid number 2, actually, right below number 1. But yeah, guys, people were worried, like, why? I suspected that they were going to do a bronze boost eventually, just like they do in all the events that they do when it's time limited, right? Usually, like, the last couple of weeks or halfway through, they do like like, for example, Plunderstorm, there's more gold dropping, or with Remix, there's more that bronze system dropping as well too. I expected this to happen about midway through, or maybe the last couple weeks. I was not expecting it week 2. So it makes me think, well, why week 2? Did you guys know there was a problem going in, and then just like, basically like, oh, I told you so to the designer that the acquisitions were very low? Or did we not do the calculations? Maybe they finally did the calculations and they found that it was going to take a lot longer to gain all this stuff, that the casuals don't have time? Or did player backlash hit so hard that they're like caving at any point in this process? So I'm just a little bit confused here. I would love to get some insight if possible. But yeah, guys, you can now get more bronze per week though. So get all those gear sets. Remember, after your first tier 2 set, it costs 60 bronze tokens. It goes down to 40, okay? So it's easier to get after that. So get grinding. All right, on to the next. All right, guys, I just want to remind you of something that's going on. Obviously, we have time walking going on right now. I just want to let you know that all the sources, we also have Hollow's End going on. Sometimes we have Dark Moon Fair, but there is a moment in time during this event, which I don't think it is right now, but there's a chance to get 85% increase in all of your XP gains, right? Remember, there's that quest that you can get from the celebration that gives you 10%. There's just a general 10% celebration buff as it is right now. Hollow's End also gives you some buffs, as well as Dark Moon Fair. When that is up, you get some buffs there too, as well as if you have 5 characters leveled already, you get a buff for Warband, right? So all of those things are adding up. Also War Mode too, if you want to do that like a crazy son of a bitch. So yeah, there's a lot to do. So guys, if you're not leveling all your alts and you want to, this is the time. This patch, anytime there's time walking, that's when you level your alts, because time walking is hot, and we're gonna be time walking for the end of time here, because remember, right, in 10.0.5, we have consistent 70-ish days of just straight time walking, either it be classic or all the other expansions, right? And then we also have Turbulent Timeways coming back in 11.0.7, which is around 4 to 5 weeks of, again, more time walking. So level those alts. This is the time. All right. There's no excuse. If you come out of this saying, oh, I wish I had some more time. You had all the time in the world. All right. You need to start grinding. All right. I'm a grinder. I got the app. But guys, let's get to the next one. All right, guys, guess what? It's Hollow's End, right? One of my favorite holidays, minus the Winter Veil. Now, there is a new achievement, right, to get all the candy buckets inside of Kaz Algar. It's pretty easy. You just have to go there and accept them. You also get those little tasty morsels. You can get some upgraded items, too. Not upgraded items, just some transmog stuff. But that's not what I'm talking about. So, the loot-filled pumpkin, right? You kill the Headless Horseman every day. You can get the loot-filled pumpkin. You can get all the new, there's a new transmog, right? And also, of course, the Headless Horseman mount. I don't have it yet. Don't remind me. All right. Now, before, you would have to be a pretty high level. I think it was between level 70 to 80. But now, starting at level 10, you are eligible to get the loot-filled pumpkin each day. So that means that you can grind even harder. And also, if you're a character who, or you're a player, sorry, that does not have a level 80 character yet, and say you're level 12, you're just playing WoW, welcome on in, guys. I appreciate you being here. Then, boom, you can now grind out the Headless Horseman. You'll probably get it before me. I've been trying since the start of time, okay? And I was doing Mount Mania at the celebration, and guess what mount got picked? The Headless Horseman. Guess who had it? Most everybody. Except me. I don't need it. I don't need it. I do need it, actually. But yeah, guys, I just want to let you know about that. But let's get back to the news. All right, guys, the last piece of news that I want to talk about today is something pretty small. Now, we have the Secrets of Azeroth was a thing back in Dragonflight. And, ooh, I'm getting caught on everything. Holy crap. This closet's getting smaller, I think. But we also have this thing in 11.0.5, which is the sequel to Secrets of Azeroth, the guest relations. And right now we're having a bunch of things, people finding things, and I think we're in day 5 now. So again, if you want to participate in that, go for it. If you want to catch up, obviously there's a lot of guides on it now. But I just want to let you know that they're also doing that thing, almost like a Secrets of Azeroth Part 2. And if you enjoyed the first one, definitely do the second one. All right, guys, that was the last piece of news. And I want to thank you guys all for being here. Again, I do this content in the closet every Saturday. Obviously, I do other videos mostly every other day. And I really appreciate you being here. Now, obviously, if I didn't cover a piece of news that you think was important, definitely let me know and send me a message. Or if you like some of the news and you want to comment on it and talk about it, definitely send me a message as well too on this video. Again, I like to do this content and it's fun. I have fun in the closet, I swear. It's not me just reading off of a script. Alright, so guys, I'll see you guys later. Unoptimized Fool from the closet. See you guys later.